Hey everyone, welcome to What Where's Watchin. Today, I'll be talking about Stranger Things Season 3. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry, I'll let you know when I start to cover spoilers. So, the very first thing I want to talk about is how well this show listens to its fans and gives us what we want, all while presenting a well-written and fascinating story. The entire first episode of this season is just like a constant high. Everything is remarkably cute, funny, and lovable. It's just so easy to love each and every one of these characters, and even though we're seeing them grow, change, and interact in new dynamics, it all still captures that same feeling from the first two seasons, and the story is just as compelling. One thing about Stranger Things that I've never gotten in a different show before is it has its own unique world that you sort of get sucked into, and you don't want to leave when the season comes to an end. Now, me personally, I was born in the late 90s, and Stranger Things somehow manages to make me feel nostalgia for the 80s. I wasn't even alive, but I miss it somehow. That's how good the Duffer Brothers are at crafting their own world, and it sucks you in, just like I said. Another thing I really liked about this season, and let me be honest, I probably only have positive things to say. Another thing I liked was how well the stakes had risen without blowing things out of proportion. If you've seen seasons 1 and 2, you know that things escalate in a pretty organic manner between seasons. The villain in season 3 is much the same way, equally as cool and scary as what came before, but much bigger, stronger, and tougher to beat. I really appreciate that. I can't say too much more without getting into spoilers, so if you haven't seen this show for some reason, for the love of all that is good, go watch it. My mom, who hates horror movies and sci-fi, even she likes this show. It's so good that it transcends its genre. I promise. Just give it a shot. And now, I'm gonna touch on spoilers, so you've been warned. Oh my god, making Billy the villain as a host for the Mind Flayer was absolutely genius. It perfectly utilized the different plot points introduced in the first two seasons, and somehow, they actually got me to care for him at the very end. This season made me care about so many characters just to kill them right in front of my eyes. It's insane. Alexi died too. He was great. He just wanted to watch Looney Tunes and eat a corn dog. He didn't deserve to die. And of course, everyone's favorite Chief of Police, Jim Hopper. Wow, what an ending. When he and Joyce had that conversation about their date, I knew one or both of them wasn't making it out of there. It was so sad though, even though I could kind of see it coming, but honestly, it was a really good send-off. When they played We Could Be Heroes as Hopper read his letter, I actually teared up a little bit. It was the only time in the season, but that got me right there at the end. The man, he just wanted to protect his daughter. That's it. That's all he wanted his whole life. Now, some people think that Hopper didn't actually die, but he was sent to the Upside Down when that machine exploded, and that the Russians found him there and have him detained back in the real world in Russia. While this is an interesting story twist, I have mixed feelings about it. I'm not sure if I actually want him to come back, because it would really cheapen the sacrifice that he made. It would kind of take that whole scene and dampen it a little bit, and that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole season. But I also want Joyce and Eleven to have him back in their lives, so I'm really conflicted about that. This video is already running a little long, so I'll just make my next couple of points really quickly. I loved Dustin this season, and I love how he and Steve are genuinely really good friends. That's so funny, and it makes me like them both a lot more than I already did, and I like them a lot. I loved all the dumb relationship drama between Mike and Eleven, and Lucas and Max. I thought it was both really funny at times, and it was also a good way to help their characters actually grow. You know, to see them have these little spats, even though they're just teenagers, it allowed Eleven to become more of her own person. It helped Mike to realize he has to be less controlling. If that hadn't have happened, then at the end of the season, it would have been a lot rougher on both of them when they have to leave. I did feel really bad for Will. He missed out on a lot of his childhood because of what happened to him when he got sent to the Upside Down. He had the Mind Flayer inside of him, and all he wants is to get that childhood back. I think his destruction of Castle Byers is sort of a representation of him finally dealing with what happened, as opposed to just pretending that everything is back to normal, we don't have to think about it anymore. Max and Eleven had a hilarious and adorable friendship. I'm really glad we got to see that. I also enjoyed seeing Hopper just kick the piss out of that mayor, who totally deserved it. I hated that guy. And the last thing I'll say is, I have a lot of thoughts about Steve Harrington, and particularly how his story ended up with Robin. I know a lot of people want those two to get together, despite what we learned about her, but I don't. And I plan on making a video all about Steve Harrington, like a full 10-minute analysis video. So stick around for that sometime in the future. It'll probably come out around Halloween. Okay, this video is way too long. I've been Beware. This is What Wears Watchin'. Stay frosty.